Hello. Hello, everybody. So how you doing out there in internet land? So this is our technique workshop, left hand technique. Right, we'll check and make sure we have audio here in a little bit. Bit of a delay. Right. So left hand technique. We'll do a little review of what we did last week.
Oh, you want the lights on?
Yeah, we can turn some lights on. Got to get our screen lights on. So we'll review a little bit of what we did last week. So technique, what is technique? You can define it, you can address it. So technique is the physical control and coordination needed to play an instrument or sing. It involves position, efficiency of motion and effort, as well as the exercises to develop those specific physical skills. So that's what we're addressing here and reviewing. So we're dealing with the left hand. Everybody has two left hands, two right hands, but we'll do the left hand that is responsible for fretting the notes and playing chords and single notes, stuff like that. Our right hand, even for some of this stuff, you don't even really need the right hand, but thumb picking will work pretty well for doing these. We're going to be focusing on single notes. We have a visitor here interrupting our audio. All right, so we'll deal with the left hand.
Say hi.
All right. So say hello, Allie. Your phone's making a lot of noise.
Yeah, there's a lot of noise.
All right, wave.
All right,
head out, head out. All right. All right, that was my granddaughter, Allie, and Kelly, as we know Kelly. So here's some things to watch for, technique-wise. As you can see in a little image, photograph, is you want to place your fingers, each finger, we have 4 fingers, so they can each handle a fret for single notes, and you want to play right behind the frets. We did this, we moved up and down the string, felt the fret, play right behind the fret, press until you get a good note, right? So efficiency of motion, we don't want a lot of flying fingers, basically play behind the fret, and minimal of motion. Thumbs roll, support those fingers. Now initially when you first learn though, you can't even see the front of the instrument, so you tend to turn the instrument so you can see it and your thumb pops up. So just a reminder, get that thumb back behind there. You're pressing strings down, so you need to supply opposite and equal pressure. Well, I'll pull comments. See what we see, all right? Guess we have the same comments. Reload it. Oh, I had to run off. So I'm going to wing the comments myself here, if we get any. All right, so our right hand strumming, we're going to do single notes. So for the left hand, thumb, index, middle, ring, pinky, right? Now, fingering principles on the ukulele and any fretted stringed instrument. This is based off of the book adopted from Chuck Anderson's 6 Secrets of Guitar Fingering. I studied with Chuck for years, and he gave me permission to adopt this for ukulele. Very sound motion principles. There's 2 types of motion principles. One is stationary, where you'll stay in position, and another one is mobile, where you'll move around. There are 6 motion principles for navigating the different pathways possible on the ukulele. All right? And there's reasons for each one of these. We have physical reasons. We want to be ease and efficiency of motion. All right? And then there's musical reasons. Ultimately, that is the ultimate consideration. And because of the ukulele, we have alternate fingerings. We can do different fingerings on different strings, and each string has a different timbre or tone, so that changes what happens. Note distribution across strings, we can move vertically across the strings, or we can move horizontally. Now, a lot of these demos that we will do talking about these principles will be using just a defined set of notes so that we can compare it to other instruments. Now, our basic default fingering is, as I just said, basic. Was this one live? I went basic. I hit a little note when I did here. So here's basic. Basic is our 4 fret span. It is a stationary fingering principle. Each finger will handle its own fret, and it can be reset all along the fingerboard. And a position is defined by what fret finger one would play. That is like a classical or violin term, position. So here, position definitely equates right to the individual frets. So finger one's on fret 1, so that's our position. All right? So basic, that's our 4-fret span. Now I'm going to demo using the notes G on string 2. I have a graphic of this. A, string 2, fret 5. B, string 1, fret 2. C, string 1, fret 3. And then D. So the notes are going to be, and this is actually demonstrating really inefficient, really bad technique. One finger. G, A, B, C, D. So that's the notes G, A, B, C, D. All right, so basic. So here's the demo of basic using G, A, B, C, D. We're going to rush through a little bit of this. We'll spend a lot of time when we get into some real meat and potato of it. But basic is our default fingering position. If we can hit the notes we need, whether improvising or reading music, and they're within the 4 fingers, it'll allow us to actually play without having to look at our fingers. So the numbers are, the dots have numbers in them for fingering. So put finger 2 on string 2, fret 3, right behind the fret. This is G. Pluck that note. And then your other fingers, they should be hanging out. Don't be pointing to the wall or the ceiling or the door. Keep them curled and pointing to the strings and hanging out over the current strings. We're playing strings 1 and 2. So you don't need to hang out around 3 and 4 or under the instrument. So finger 2, string 2, fret 3. That's G. Then we're going to play A with our pinky. But finger 4. Then finger 1 will play fret 2 on string 1, B. Then we'll play C with finger 2, fret 3. And then finally our pinky at fret 5. Now the notes of the neck really help again. I always harp on that. But if we really learn the notes of the neck, this becomes somewhat easy. So G, A, B, C, D. So this is ideal for those sets of notes. G, A, B, C, D. If we have 4 fingers, this would be the perfect place to play it. So if there's no overwhelming musical reason to play it somewhere else, this would be good. But now on the ukulele, we know we can play the same note on different strings, right? A. If you have a high G, you can play G's. You can play the same A on 3 different strings. If you have a high G, you can play it here too on string 4, fret 2. Here's a low A. So G, A, B, C, D. This would be called a basic fingering, 4 frets, 4 fingers. Now, how do we get to these different positions? Because G is available. I played that wrong. That's funny, right? It's available a lot of places. So the motion principles, the first one I typically deal with is called slide. Now this slide is not the term that they use in the guitar world a lot, that they use to indicate a gliss or a glissando. Like, this slide is strictly we're going to take our fingers, release the pressure on the strings, and if we want to reset this 4-fret span to here, we're going to slide our hand up and reset it to a new fret position. All 4 fingers move as a group. We don't want to push or pull them. We just want to release the pressure of the thumb and then just reset the 4-fret, 4-finger position along the fingerboard. Again, we're going to be playing G, A, B, C, D. This is ultimately going to allow us to play any note with any finger. And that's the ultimate goal, to be able to play anything with any finger. There's a story of a Dennis Sandoli, a famous jazz teacher in Philadelphia. He was a guitar player, but he taught every instrument. He even had a jazz bagpipe player.
Never heard of that.
He taught John Coltrane. So if you're into jazz, or even if you're not, most people have heard of John Coltrane, famous jazz saxophonist. He studied with Sandoli for like, I don't know, 4 years or something, pretty long, and became lifelong friends. Famous jazz musicians. And if you were any instrument other than the guitar, you had to play things with in all 12 keys, no matter what you played. If you had this little figure of G, A, B, C, D, you had to play it in all 12 keys. We'd have to move it to A flat, move it to A. Now, guitar players didn't have to do that, because we would always hear that you had to play everything in every key, and it is such a challenging on the fretted instrument. It seems impossible, and very few can do it. I can't do it. But guitar students, they had to play whatever figure he wrote out. Say he wrote out the G, A, B, C, D. You had to play it starting on any finger, on any string where you get that G. So there's that G. So you had to be able to do that off of any finger. And what that is then is that point, it is training your fingers to follow your ear so that you'll hear the sound internally of what you want this. And it won't matter what fingers, other than you're using yours, of course. But it won't matter which finger you start on, you'll do it. So slide.
It's old.
Yeah, I know. I like that one. I like that joke too. So basically, you can use any finger you want as long as it's yours. So here's a slide demo taking the same G, A, B, C, D. This will demonstrate how we can start with finger 1 on G, and we can actually take our fingers now. I always keep my fingers pretty close, but if you could see above it, it's hard to see. I'm not really, here we go. I'm really close. So I'm going to take finger 1 and still keeping my fingers really close. I would play the G, and then I would reset it up to fret 5, and I'd play the A. Then I can get B with my 3rd finger, C with my pinky, and go to D on string 1. So it'll sound like this. It's going to sound exactly the same. Subtly different because we're redistributing these strings across notes across the string. Right? I could actually, maybe this doesn't show, but I could actually play my A with the 3rd finger, then slide. Now you might be saying to yourself, or whatever you call yourself, they sound exactly the same, whether I slide finger 1 or finger 3. So what would be the difference? Well, you pick one if you're playing it, but if we did a glissando and played every note in between, and I slid my 1st finger, I could hammer on it would sound different than if I slid my 3rd finger. Subtly different. I could do a hammer on, pick this C.
That's cool.
It actually gives you speed too. I can hammer on all the notes. Right, so this is a slide. Now, let's go back to these basic finger drills we did a long time ago.
Fancy background today.
Yeah, a lot of it is fancy. So we did 2 fingers, and when you did a basic fingering drills to get used to independence and control of 2 fingers, you did these combinations of 2 fingers across every string. Right? So now to incorporate the slide into it, what we'll do is we'll take finger 1, play that 1st note. I'm using low G. It doesn't matter whether you're using a high G. In fact, this doesn't even matter if your instrument's in tune. Should be, but so I'm going to take finger 1, I'm going to slide 1 fret higher, and then play fret 2, and then I'll play my 2nd finger. So I changed position from position 1, fret 1 to fret 2. Now I'm going to go to the next string. Start on string 3 at fret 2, slide 1 fret higher, pluck that note, and then play my 2nd finger. Now a little side note, I'm tucking my fingers out of the way for demonstration purposes. Typically they'll be up here, so I'll do it again. And I'll continue to do that until I run out of strings. Right? So I ended up on fret 5 with finger 1 and finger 2 on fret 6. So now I'll go back, descending 2-1. I could have went up, but this serves 2 purposes. One is, if I end up where I started, I did okay. Because we can slide finger 1 2 frets. So as you can see, we're just starting to navigate the fingerboard pretty good. frets. Right? And back 3 frets. 4 frets.
Wait, you do finger 1 and finger 2, and then drop finger 1.
Slide finger 1.
Oh, wait, slide.
1 fret.
Wait, so you do 1, slide,
and then play finger 2. And then move to the next string.
Finger 1 drops
So we're sliding
down.
we're sliding a single finger 1 fret. This is a gymnastic or a finger drill to get used to doing this. Now you can go back, go up, work your way back. Now if you do hit, like I'm doing 4 frets, so I'm pretty much up around fret 10, 11, 12 area almost. I can turn back. So I don't have to go all the way to string 1 because you'll run out of it. So there's a lot. So you write it out. There's lessons online.
Rewind, play this again slower.
There's lessons on the site. So if it's a 2-finger combination, I can slide 1 finger, 1 fret, 2 frets, 3 frets, and 4 frets. That's the fret combination I would practice. And here's the reason. 1 and 2 frets cover scale situations, the diatonic scales. 3 frets would cover a minor or arpeggio. Like this would be A flat minor, right? It would cover a blues or pentatonic scale situation where there is a minor third or 3 semitones between a couple of the notes. 4 frets would cover a major third, so that would cover major chords, right? So now if you go back, and now I'll go do 1, 2 again, but this time I'm going to play 1 and then finger 2 and then slide it 1 fret. And I would pluck each note, articulate each note, don't do, right? That's a separate practice. Now, so each finger I could slide 1, 2, 3, or 4 frets to cover the different musical situations. Go up until you run out of strings or you run into the fret 10, 11, 12 area, and then go back the same opposite exercise. So 1, 2 would become 2, 1. Right? And if you end up where you started, and sometimes like there, I did it on purpose, but I used to not do it on purpose, and I would not end up where I started. And I didn't know where I messed up. So I tried again. Right? So I'm trying to do 2 frets and I keep messing up. So this is what I solved initially. It says, okay, I'm getting good at 1 string, 2 strings, then 3 strings, and then finally all 4. If you play the same instrument all the time, you might be able to do it without looking at it. And again, maintain that 4 fret span. In fact, the finger combination I recommend and I do with students initially is fingers 1 and 4. That way you maintain your 4 fret span without thinking about it.
Wait on the...
So I'm doing finger 1.
Wait on the first... Well, go ahead.
Slide 1 fret, and then the pinky should play fret 5.
Oh,
so don't bunch up.
Finger 2.
You're maintaining the 4 fret span. Right?
Geez.
So there's finger combinations up on the screen.
In a month or so.
You only have, if you're doing reversing them, now you could do this.
Wait, back to the other one.
Yeah.
The first one, when you were going back, and you
opposite, be 2, 1 then.
So then so your second finger slides.
No, if you slid finger 1 on the way up, slide finger 1 on the way back. Oh. Same finger slides each time.
Okay.
Then slide finger 2 instead of finger 1. I'm sliding 2 frets. I'll do a demo. Here's the process. I'm going to take fingers 1 and 2. I'll slide finger 1 once. 1 fret. And then back. Alright, so that's 1, 2. Now I'm going to slide finger 2, 1 fret. That's right. now I'm going to slide both fingers one fret. As you can see, you can navigate the fingerboard pretty well, but this is developing the motor skills to do the slide, right? Right. So now let's actually move on a second to the next principle. We're going to cover. I'm going to go fast through all 6 principles. All right. So basic is your basic 4-fret span. I use basic in the same sentence.
I think I need a video with that slower.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But there'll be better videos when I really do this. This would be
the reverse.
Yeah, this would be a really long process. All right, so slide. That is resetting it by sliding a finger along that string. So the finger sliding is already playing the note. I'm doing 1-3, sliding 1 fret. So it's already same finger is playing 2 notes in a row. Right, and just sliding from the first note to the second note. All right, so you release the pressure on the string, keep it on the string. In fact, I don't know if you'll see it though, but there's like little dents in your fingers from playing, right? They act as like little, like a railroad car on the track. They help you stay on the strings. Pretty, move back and forth.
Does that mean you have like bad technique though? If you the string, my tracks are all over my fingers.
That's right. Yeah, probably is. That means you've been taking them on and off.
Really?
Yep. This is where, again, as I always say, a good teacher or somebody that's proficient in this stuff and knows these principles, which unfortunately is few and far between. Now the next one, so it's basic, slide, and then we have pass. Now what pass will do, here's a demo of the G, A, B, C, D, right? So here's finger 1 on G. All right, fret 3, here's A, 3rd finger. Now a lower finger, 1, 2, in this case my 3rd finger is on the A. Finger 1 or 2 could pass my 3rd finger to go to a higher fret. So there I went to B. So I did G, A, I passed my finger 1, and now I'm going to do B, C, D on that string. Now pass allows you to play things all along one string too. So that's a mobile fingering principle. Now, right? And these are just, and this is funny, I say this for students because we're going to apply these to scales. And a bizarre statement will be is you actually don't have to really memorize any of these because you'll know the notes of the neck and you'll see them and you can navigate them. Certain positions you'll know really well, you'll like them, and you'll use them a lot, they'll be memorized. But others, this is just connecting your different positions. So here's my G, A, B, C, D. Now again, like the slide we did, there will be exercises for the pass. All right, it'll allow you to go navigate pretty quickly up and down the neck. All right, so that's pass.
I did not end up on. Oh.
Yeah, so
I
if you're
started on fret 1.
like say I was going to just demo the principles. It's funny, like the basic exercise, the 4-finger one. If you're an adult on ukulele, you would probably get all 24 of these exercises in 1 week if you practice during the week. Some students will only get half of the 24. Some will only get 6 of them. Some would get 3, you know. So it all depends on the individual student and how much they're doing the work at home. So pass, like that slide exercise, 1 week I would have somebody slide just 1 fret maybe. If you're a real advanced student, you would get all 12 of those, which is half of them for the slide, 6. And you slide 1, 2, 3, 4 frets, all of them. And if you would demo those when you're in the lesson and I saw you're proficient at them and you did them at home, we'd move on to like the next principle. We'd move on to fingers 1, 2, 3. So you can go back and take any one of these, the first 6, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4. Because we're doing the reverse, you only have to do half of them, right? And then you would move on to 3 fingers, right? So here you would only do the first 2. You do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. So you wouldn't actually do all those for slide. Because there's no need in mixing. Because if you get the concept down and you train your fingers, the motor skills, the mixing them like will show up when we actually play the scales and intervals and different stuff like that. So you don't have to be, it's not like obnoxiously thorough everything. It's pretty much just sequential fingers in order. You don't have to sort of mix them. That shows up for the scales. So the thing you would do 4 fingers. Now that's funny because say I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to got up to the point where I'm going to slide each finger 4 frets. I'm pretty much done on one string. So, all right. So it's a lot of partial stuff as you get up there. All right. So back to the pass. So pass. Now pass to me, excuse me a little bit. It's funny. It's some different things. It actually feels like the slide because I sort of know I'm going to pass my 3rd finger with my 1st finger, so I will keep my 1st finger on that string. But with the pass, you don't have to keep it on the string. If I can turn, like, I can't really get back there. Right, it's tough to see.
You can turn the computer on. There you go.
Right. We'll get some overhead shots more these days. Pass. Now, so we did the demo of the pass too. What's really good about these is they'll be all along one string a lot. But there is scenarios where you could do cross string pass. Because you can pass 1, 2, 1, 3 and go to 2, 4. But the exercise is you always do the same pair or same 3. So I did 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, oops. 1, 2, 4, 1, pass 1 fret. Now your thumb will move, let me see. Right, your thumb stays right behind fingers 1 and 2, and when you shift, it shifts the same.
The other view is closer. The other, if you make the screen bigger.
What's that? Screen bigger?
Where you like.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, okay. Let's do this. Camera 1. Right. When you do move and shift, right. I'm going up the neck. My thumb's going to go with your hand. It's so funny. You could win arguments a lot of things. Is tell somebody to put their hand out here. You know, wiggle their fingers, move it over here. Notice your thumb had to go with you. It's funny. Right, it's easy to win some arguments with stupid little things. Now, so slide and pass, they'll sort of feel the same. It just depends on what finger combination you're doing and whether you're keeping a finger on a string as you shift. All right? Contraction. What contraction does is we have 4 fingers, we can cover 4 frets. Not yet. Oh. Oh yeah, there you go. When we do a contraction, this is the another fingering principle. So this is 4 of the 6 so far. Contraction temporarily takes your 4 fret span and makes it 3, 2, or even 1. You can actually replace a finger, right? So contraction and then contractions are usually followed with an expanding out into a new 4 fret span. So if you're doing a contraction exercise, you actually start higher up the neck. Then we'll do 1 and 3 up here. My 3rd finger is going to contract 1 fret, and as I'm playing that note, I'll expand out to a new 4 fret span.
Like a slinky.
Yep, it'd be like. Right. You can even expand to the point of you replace that finger with any one of the other fingers. So if I'm at finger 1 here, but I really want to be in this position here. It's funny, when you're improvising, you'll have these nice basic fingering spots for scales, as we'll see. And you'll even know at a certain point what finger plays what note within your major scales, especially. That if I'm not on finger 1, for this major scale, I'll quickly get to figure 1. I might play a note twice. All right, so contraction. The book. Let's jump to the book a second. Do I have a book thing here? Yeah, it's all in this book.
Betty wants to know, how do your fingers know how far to go up the neck? Like, do I learn to pass a certain number of frets?
Pass is the same as slide. 1, 2, 3, and 4 frets cover the musical situations, and you can ultimately pass any number of frets. You can slide any number of frets. As far as the exercises go,
you would do each one fret, 2 fret, 3 fret, 4 fret.
You want to be if you want to be really, really thorough. It's so funny. I was on this jazz guitar forum, and I'm from Philadelphia area here, and that's where Chuck Anderson, who I study with, is from. So somebody on the forum was saying, "Oh, I'm going to be in Philadelphia for the summer. Was there a really good teacher to study with?" So I responded back that, "Oh, well, Chuck Anderson would be a really good one if you wanted to study with him, to really advance your career." And he responded back, "Oh, he's too dogmatic."
Dogmatic?
Yeah, it means that you really have to do the work.
Oh, then why study if you don't want to?
I know, that's what I said. I didn't respond back, but it's like, wait a second.
Darn.
You want somebody that's going to challenge you, that knows what your goals are and will help you achieve those goals. It's funny, yeah.
So was that your question, Betty? Do I understand?
Yeah, the frets, number of frets are the same. Yep, you can slide past any number of frets. Now, contraction has a limit, because if I contract, say I'm at finger 1, fret 5 on string 4, and I want to contract, I can only contract 1, 2 frets. Otherwise, if I want 3 frets, I'm doing a pass, right? So contraction can, if you contract too much, you're not contracting anymore, you're doing a pass, right? A couple of the other ones we're coming up to is like stretch, right, which is a pretty famous one people use. So contraction, here's a demo of contraction, taking the same G, A, B, C, D. Now, we know we can play G, A, B, C, D with our second finger. I'll go to full screen mode after we go through a couple more of these and demo them all of them full screen, G, A, B, C. But if I'm not on finger 2, if I'm on finger 1, I could put my pinky on the A. Notice how I'm condensed or contracted my 4 frets into 3. Then as I'm playing this A, this is what's really nice about some of these principles. You could be multitasking, you could be moving as you're playing that note. You don't have to wait for the note to finish. Slide and pass, you have to wait for the note to finish. And then I'll play the B, C, D. So that's contraction, the demo using the G, A, B, C, D. All right. Now let's get to stretch.
Wait, hold on. Wait, yeah, Betty said in the example for passing, we are moving our first finger up 4 frets.
2 frets. No, don't think of it that way. Think of passes. I have my 3rd finger playing A, and I want to get to the B, which is past it, right? I have to pass that 3rd finger to get to finger 1. So finger 3, in the book, it details everything about like what finger can pass which finger. So a finger numbers again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So a lower finger number can pass a higher finger number, ascending.
It's like a confusing board game.
It is. You got to know the rules. Right?
It's like that train game we played.
Do not pass go. Do not collect. Right now, a descending, a higher finger number can pass a lower finger number. Right. So if it doesn't fit that, you're doing one of the other principles. Which really brings a good point to this, is that this is not a fingering system. There's a lot of fingering systems out there where people, they dictate the moves and the positions and patterns that you can play. Caged is one of them. You've heard that. There's another acronym they use on ukulele because it doesn't fit the C, A, G, E, D chords that ukulele had. I think they did it with an F or something. C, F. It's weird. But it's a system. Berkeley uses one system. I wrote an article. It's also available online. I'll put links in the description when this gets really posted. Did it for Just Jazz Guitar magazine on these fingering principles, and talked about the different fingering systems. Segovia even had one for classical guitar. These are fingering principles. You end up with, you can do your own system if you want. But these are the motion principles that you can identify in every one of those other systems. Stretch. Now, stretch is both a mobile and a stationary principle. if we had 5 fingers, man, we would be ideally positioned to play the ukulele because of its tuning, or we could get every note of a 12-note chromatic scale in every position. We cannot do that, only in the open position where we can take advantage of the open string as an extra finger. Can we play the chromatic scale without moving anywhere else? Anywhere else, we need 5 fingers, or we have to do something. So stretch will allow you to expand your 4-fret basic fingering position. Initially 1 fret lower, 1 fret higher. So this is lower, this is higher by 1 fret. So if there's that one note in a passage you're playing that you can't get, the stretch will allow that. Or if you had to do 2 principles in a row, maybe a stretch might replace that. Now, here's the demo of stretch. Again, I said it's a mobile and a stationary position. So here is the G, A, B, C, D again. And I'm at finger 1 on G. I can play the A with finger 3. And I want to stay in this position, fret 3. So I can get the pinky on string 2. And then I can stay here and get one of. Now, one thing to notice, I didn't go out of position with my stretch, so I'll just stretch it. And again, there's exercises for all these. It's like I want to get that C out of position, but I don't want to move into this new position. So you could actually, and this is not in this example here, but I could stretch. This sounds awkward. Right? Now, mobile is I'm going to move, after I play that note I'm stretching to, I'm going to move into a new position.
Is passing like hopping?
No, nope, not yet. There's a last fingering principle. It's called leap, but here's mobile. Remember I said stretch has 2 different examples. So here, just looking at the dots, it appears to be the same as the basic, right? But notice the finger combination. I did 1, 3, 1 on B, and then I'm going to move into fret 2 position and finish it there. I could have done a contraction. So there's lots of choices for any of these. I'll go back and demo all these again and point out lots more. So stretch has 2 different, it's both stationary and mobile. Right. Now, a lot of systems use stretch a lot. Berkeley did their guitar thing. Because what stretch allows you to do also, especially on an instrument where they're picking, because it's hard to get really proficient with a pick. If you want to just totally alternate down and up, 3 notes on a string allows for some nice positioning and stuff, but it's a stretch. To me, I actually call stretch, not in the book or anything, but I actually call it sometimes a reactionary principle. Is like, I didn't plan ahead. Like, I would not play stretch in this situation. I'd plan ahead and contract, or plan way ahead and not start on finger 1. Right? So I rarely use stretch. There's one style of music that I played a little bit of on guitar. There's some stuff on ukulele. Is bebop. It was really written mainly by horn players, trumpet and saxophone and stuff, and those guys can be blazingly fast and they have set fingerings. So a lot of stuff, if you try to play bebop on ukulele, it's a lot of fingering challenges. You really have to work out the fingerings because they just don't conveniently lay under 4 fingers. Which brings up another point, is that set fingerings give you a set sound. The flexibility of these fingerings gives you, first, you can get into a good position to play, or they can give you abilities to add more dynamics. Right? You can add dynamics, slides, hammer-ons, pull-offs. All right, now there is a 6th fingering principle called leap. No example here. Leap. I'll demo it though. Here we go. I could do leap. G, A, B, C, D. So I lap. So I played the A open. An open string allows you to leap somewhere else. It's good for this trick. Let's drop back one. And we lost it. All right. So leap or just dramatically shift.
Just sitting on it.
Right. So you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Leap, it's not used a lot. It's a really more musical effect. And once you go through this system of doing these and learning these, and these are just the learning about the principles, and then you got to apply them, right? You have to apply these. Right, good. I'm trying to go through these fast so we can get to some real good demos and stuff. Oh, but I said I would go back and demo all of these, right? So, basic. There's only one basic here, and that's finger 2. On finger 1, I'll contract. Right, finger 1, third finger, stretch. Now, when you stretch is to, you know, actually sort of feel yourself. If you put your hand out here like this, relaxed it, that's sort of like a 4-fret span, relaxed on the ukulele. On guitar, it's a 3-fret span. But if you stretched, just hold your fingers out like this, it takes effort to stretch. It doesn't take much effort to maintain a 4-fret span and be relaxed. Now, on ukulele, stretch, 1 fret's good. Sometimes you can even stretch further and do like 2 frets, but that's a real stretch. So 1 fret stretches are good. So here was basic, contract, stretch, slide, pass, leap. So there's lots of ways to play any passage that you run across. Now, if it's a melody, and melodies are set, they're pretty much always going to be those melodies. The melody's never going to change. So if I'm playing Happy Birthday, I'm going to go to a finger 1 major scale kind of fingering and always start there because I know there's an octave. I need to have the notes in position. All right. And ultimately, when you do these, well, let's do it here. Let's do D major scale as an example. So a D major scale is the notes D, I'm at fret 2, string 3, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. All right, I can start on finger 1 and I can play a basic. Finger 2. Now I planned ahead and slid from F sharp to G. So I know if I'm on finger 2, I will not be able to get to the D note on string 1. So I need to get somewhere in this position to be able to get to the D note. So a slide will allow me to do that. All right, third finger, I can slide right away. Pinky, I'm going to go to my third finger because I've already discovered my third finger is the good finger to play that note with. Stretch. So that's a bad position like that. So ideally you'll have, so this major scale position, I memorized it. Oh, you should memorize it too. All right, this is a good one, movable. Right. Now, if I was going to teach, I do teach these on guitar and ukulele. On guitar, you end up with, because it's 6 strings, you end up having 7 different positions that you can play a 1 octave major scale. On ukulele, if you don't have a high G, this is the one position, you know, one shape that you can play your major scale with that does not include open strings. It's movable. That's just one position. There's like a whole other fretboard area we have to be able to navigate through. If you have a low G, there's a 4th position. Here's D here. That's the next adjacent position. Right, so on ukulele, what I do is this next thing. What's that? There's
a lot of stuff up there.
There is a lot there, right? But I will actually start like this. And there's a lesson on this, and there's a lesson for everything, I always say. Right? I've done it. There is a lesson online for, just go to do a search on the lesson page for, just put like navigating in. And you'll find a lesson on navigating the C major scale, high G or low G. There's 2 separate lessons. But what it will do is it will reveal that there is 5 positions that overlap on the ukulele that we need to be able to navigate through. So now, when I explore these positions, though, we don't sort of map them out. This gives you a good exploration of these. And again, it means the notes of the neck. Gotta learn the notes of the neck. Keep talking on it. Now, so I'm going to take finger 1. We're going to do C major, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Well, a long time ago, one of the workshops, we did C major scale. A lot of people know that. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, do, do, do. You play the major scale descending and channel joy to the world, your ear will tell you if you played it right or not. That's not movable. So then I'm going to go to D with finger 1. Again, I'm showing really bad fingering to show what note I'm playing. I would typically show, I'm going to play D, and you look at my hand and go like, what the heck are you doing? Like where you need the overheads. But so finger 1, maintain a 4 fret span. So here's my D. I'm going to play D to D. And it's, I'm out of tune. Tune up.
Commercial break.
Close enough. So here's D to D using C major. So all natural notes. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So finger 1, string 3, fret 2. So basic. Right now, so I would just take string 3 and go up and play, start on every natural note. This is what the lesson does. So we move to the next note, which is E. E, F, G, A, B. Oh man, if I could get a C here and had another finger, well, I don't. So I'm going to slide up, right? In fact, here in the notice I slid on finger pinky. In the lesson, I slid on finger 1. I did 1 up to F. For a reason, as we'll soon see. So now let's just move up to F. And if you look on the screen, you'll see I circled the overlap where starting on E, it is the, I call it the F position for C major, fret 5. And it's just that one note out of position. So if you play E and then slide up to the F. In fact, in teaching, when I go over this with students and walking them through the lesson, I will do D first, like this. Then I'll go to the F. Then I'll go back and say, okay, let's go to get the E. But all you have to do is get the E and move into your F. Basic. These are all, we're looking for basics. Looking for basics. Then I would take the F and move it up to G and play G to G. It's not here on the screen, but G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then same thing, move up to A, B, C, D, E. E and F are always together. I'll slide up and get the F. B. Really runs out of room here. This is almost akin to playing the white keys on the piano, which is really, really easy because they're visual, right? C is a pretty easy one. Fret 12, if you have it. So there you would have done the whole major scale there. Now, the lesson goes further. It does this is, okay, great. I can play this here. Let me get rid of this picture. Oh, we'll go to camera. Camera 1. Good, thank you. There's no director here, it's us. So there ends up being 5 overlapping positions. And they are from, we use C major as an example, the D, F, G, A, and the C positions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, where the half steps are, the lower note of that half step, in this case BC, gets incorporated into the higher notes position. The EF just gets incorporated into the higher one. So you need the fingering principles to be able to get, but here I've demo here. Here's the F, basic. So how many ways can I do the E? 1, E, F, G. I can contract. A, B, C, D, E, F. Right, I can slide. Pinky. I did a different slide the way back. Slide right away. I can stretch. But silly stretch, I'd have to stretch again. Right? So then the lesson, I believe it actually does this. It goes back and deals with every finger. Do D, finger 2. Well, I know this position here. It's a major scale position that you'll memorize pretty early on. Right, so I slid F sharp to G, the half step. So it's actually going to be easier to slide 1 fret than it is 2. Third finger. Pinky again. We sort of did this earlier. Now, oh, else we're doing D. Right, so you'll ultimately be able to connect you'll just be able to navigate the whole fingerboard pretty easily. Now what happens here is you'll be playing in a position. I'm playing a D. I'm thinking I want to be up here now next. So I use the pass. Slide. Now there is a couple, you set limitations a little bit for efficiency. Slide is one of them where you don't want to slide the same finger twice. And you'll see this all the time. It's just is totally inefficient. I wasn't trying to be inefficient.
Why is that inefficient?
Because you had to stop and get the note. You did the fingering principle twice. If you slid, like say here, like I'm going to do E, D, slide to C, but my ear, I want to get B also. I have to slide again. And I picked each note, so there's no reason to do that. I could have done this.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds. You hear the difference.
When I studied these, that was actually one of the questions. One of the reasons I went and studied with Chuck Anderson, because he always asks you, any good teacher will, what are you doing here? What are your goals? Right?
My mom made me come.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's not a good goal, sorry. You can find a cheaper sitter elsewhere, sorry. The goal was, I had particular goals, but one of them I remember was to be able to navigate the fingerboard. I would see these players navigating, and here I was stuck in the blues box. That would be the equivalent on ukulele. Stuck in the guitar, A blues box. I could do one move. But that was it. So I said, I want to use the whole darn neck, bought it, right? Might as well be able to use it. I want to be able to navigate the fingerboard. I probably didn't use those words, but so yeah, so when we hit that area, it was these fingering principles that allowed us to do that. Did all the exercises over months and months. And then the final goal and exercise, not really an exercise, what was we did? We took every major scale. We took the major scale. We took like, I don't know how many scales, God, I did like a lot of these. In jazz, there's like 17 essential scales that you need to do. So what we did, and this is on guitar, so ukulele, we have fewer strings, so not as much work, is we had to be able to play, start on the root of any scale. So here's D as an example. Say, okay, I have a chart. I have charts online for this. Can I play the D major scale using the basic fingering principle? And the answer is yes. Can I play it using finger 2? No. Finger 3? No. Finger 4? No. Right? Then we go to string 2, and I'll use D as an example again here. Can I play it? No, of course, there's no basic. You can't get up to D. It'd be way up here somewhere. So no, 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 no. So ukulele ends up being pretty easy for some of this. But you would do every string, every finger, and go through all 6 fingering principles. So then you would go to, say, D here on string 3. Can I slide? And you might say to yourself, wait a second, why would I slide? I don't have to. So you're just trying to incorporate slide in the principle. And you have this grid check mark where a basic is a yes or no answer. Can I do the basic or not? And then you go for every finger, slide. Can I slide? Yes. You do back 2. Second finger, can I slide? Yeah, third finger, can I slide? Yes. So each one of those would be an A, B, C, or D, indicating the number of times that you had to do the principle. And we used letters instead of numbers because numbers are already assigned to fingers. Pinky, can I slide? I had to slide twice. Can I do it sliding once? Nope, not without using open strings. But then we would go to pass. Can I pass? That's an A. To pass again. So you would go through the chart, and I use this statement with students. I say, when you're doing these charts, we usually do them in lessons. Some students can do them at home, and we check them. Is you do not have to memorize any of these. And I say, what? You don't memorize them? No, you're exploring the different pathways. Now, this is memorized. You know, some of these other ones. It's funny, I have the C major scale memorized really well on the ukulele. So if I need to get any scale that is only one note difference in C major, like G major or F major, it's just alter that one note. So here's G, C, F, B flat. D flat, D flat too. Right? So the notes are technically E. But you explore in the instrument. And if you're in one position and I want to be here, how am I going to get there? I have to figure what scale is that. And a lot of things you can do to explore it is, say, take C major as an example again, play a natural note F. Play a natural note on string 1, move up. Next note, play a natural note on string 1. Now notice there I moved. Moved to finger 3 on my E because I know so you're really an explorer, not practicing. You're exploring. Yeah, I knew I had to do a lot for this lessons. This workshop is a lot. It should be like 3 or 4 workshops, but there's a big overview into navigating the fingerboard. And this is in a lot of the books. So here's a book, the Quick Start Scale Fingerings for Ukulele. It takes 6 essential scales. This is a commercial, isn't it? Yeah. No, but it takes 6 essential scales, and you gives you solutions for starting on every finger. From strings 4, 3, 2, no, just does strings 4 and 3. Because strings 2, if you're doing something, here's F major. I know it has a B flat, F, G. You don't even have to think about it. On strings 1 and 2, there is no basics. There might be a slide, right? Because it'll be on finger 1. Finger 2. I had to slide 3 times. Finger 4, nothing, right? So on string 1, there's only going to be passes. Here's C major, C, D, E, F, oh wait, C, oh it's B, sorry. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, all passes. Right, so it gets pretty easy to explore on the ukulele.
Jim Brady said, I've learned to say, what did you say?
Yeah, what?
I said, now that equals rewind.
Yeah, you can rewind for all this. Yeah, so I saw a note there about the leap. It is like hopping.
Oh, you said no. Right?
If we're doing like this, the pass they said is like hopping over.
Yeah.
No pass is like pass.
Okay, that's what, okay.
Because you actually want to stay
But
so
is she just
close.
thinking like passing? Like
No,
you're hopping?
Here's why it's not hopping over, because this finger is getting out of the way. So you're just basically passing that finger's position.
Where it was.
Yeah. Hopping would be like it stays on, but you can't really hop over.
See, it is like a board game. It's like sorry, where you kick that.
Twister, like Twister, right?
No, it's like sorry, where you just kick that guy out of the way, you pass through him and go to your next block.
You really want to stay really close to the strings and all that good stuff. That was an hour, right? Whew. Man, oh man, there's a lot there.
An hour and 1 minute.
So, 30-second review. Basic, 4 frets, 4 fingers. Slide. You're going to connect these different positions. Sliding any finger, 1, 2, 3, or 4 frets, ultimately sliding any number of frets you want. Just don't slide too many frets too fast. It actually can burn. Pass. Lower finger can pass a higher finger. Again, you're just trying to navigate a musical passage or scale position, soloing. Contraction, you're taking the 4 fret span and making it 3, 2, or even down to 1. Stretch, you're just increasing the 4 fret span by 1 fret on either side. The fingers that can stretch are 1, 2, 1, 3, you can stretch 1 fret higher, 1, 4, you can stretch, 2, 4 can stretch. Don't even bother trying fingers 2 and 3 to stretch. The way our hand is composed muscle-wise or tendons, I think they share a sheath or something like that, they physically cannot stretch. It hurts. So we don't even bother doing that one. So 2 and 3 get a reprieve when it comes to stretch. So mobile stretch is all the same things for the stationary stretch, except you're moving.
Comment. Jim Brady said it's great to be able to attend CSU, Coachella University.
Yeah.
And then Betsy said we need T-shirts.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, there you go. Swag. Hey, I can have some merch.
Yeah,
I always wanted merch. I have my CD, right? And I have my books, the website. So yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. So if you really want to sponsor CSU or the everything that I'm doing on the website, because it's like a
full-time plus job.
Yeah, it just doesn't have the full-time benefits and salary that comes with some big full-time job.
And that's not including your hours of private students.
Yeah, because it costs money to host the site too, and all this stuff. The streaming service we're using to be able to stream it to a couple things, the software to put this stuff together. And the lessons paid off from like playing and performing. Yeah, like this. Like if everyone thinks like, man, lessons are expensive, and they are, but they'll pay off as you start gigging, or if you just don't want to gig,
Just enlightens your life.
Yeah, guaranteed. The better you get at your instrument, the better musicians you can play with, the more fun you're going to have, and the better you want to get.
Yeah.
Well, I better not play that. I'll get flagged on YouTube for my song, Men's Cove, like. Got flagged as copyright infringement, not really, but hey, I own it. It's me. I had to send a little note to the CD baby who did my CD.
And then uploaded it to YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. They said I was infringing on my own copyright. I think it was just like a bot flagged it.
Yeah.
So it came back really fast that they released their hold on it. So basically that means I'll get any royalties if people play. which would be like pennies off of the CD playing.
Betty asked, "Do you go this fast in lessons?" And I said, "No."
Oh, no
with
way.
a lot of exclamation marks, but that sounded harsher. But it's meant like these.
These are overviews. This is I can guarantee this is probably
6
like
weeks or more.
This is like a year's worth of lessons.
Yeah, okay, years.
A lot. This is a lot. Yeah, this is like a lecture in college or something. Sometimes you're just sort of what happens with this is it's out there now. There is principles of how to navigate the fingerboard. You're not left to your own devices, because initially you will not. You won't critique your own playing. You'll get the results, but then you won't really see if it's efficient or not. You'd be surprised how many people are surprised when I tell them we do the play right behind the fret thing. Because you'll hear even the established players say, put your finger between the frets. That's where you play the note. They don't go.
Or they just totally skip that and they say, put your finger on fret 2, and they don't tell you where or what to do.
And they don't justify why. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, Betty said, LOL, this is scary. Which these videos can be intimidating.
If you get through this and you learn to use these, this is great for improvisation and reading, is that you'll be a scary player. Other people go like, whoa, man, how'd you get that good? A secret. It's not really, it's not a secret.
You can just keep going over this video and keep learning. Even our Getting Started for Ukulele workshop every third Sunday, we have like intermediate, advanced players come, and they might even learn. They even come up after and say, "Oh, I learned, something new," and in a beginner workshop.
Some of the teachers come and sit into the workshops.
Yeah, you have to have area teachers come in.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. This is all sort of like not like secret information. It's like pass it on, right? We got 4 fingers. How do you deal with only 4 fingers when we need 5? I did gazillions of these gymnastics. Here's a good exercise to do. It's just total fun anyway, is to take continuous eighth notes without stopping and just randomly single note play anything and then maybe shift up. It's really hard to do even myself. Swing it. I messed up. So there was switching strings. So that was a picking. Ooh, that's a good share, so that's picking. That's tough. That's hard to do. Graduate course in ukulele.
Betsy said, I learn new things every time I go to the beginner's workshop. I've been playing for 5 years, but it helps me teach others. Yeah. And it is fun. You kind of have to revisit, like you learned how to play, but then learning how
teaching's a different
learn how
story.
to teach. You can't just because you know how to play doesn't always mean you'll be able to teach.
And you can't teach one different way. Like the pencil trick I use for fingering positions. I got that from a classical guitarist. He used a number 2 pencil. I thought that a little odd. Not odd, but like hard to handle. So I said, "Whoa, carpenter's pencil." I thought, I'm going to buy some and get learningukulele.com, print it on them, but they're like so expensive. Just go to Home Depot and get some. But there you go. That's like proper thumb placement. Pencil. Put it flat on a desk or on the back of your ukulele. And then pick it up with your fingers and your thumb. Your thumb's going to go just naturally there. Yep. All right. Just answering questions, right? That's good. Is it Betsy's birthday?
No. Betsy said she learned April 2015. I'm 5 years old. To play.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And Betty said I'm 2.
Yeah. Just be stubborn enough to stick with it. That's the secret.
I'll buy one of those pencils.
Yeah, as you give Home Depot. Oh, she would buy one. Yeah, I would give them away.
Cool.
souvenirs.
Fun hanging out with you guys today.
Yep. All right. Enjoy.
Join us, yeah, enjoy
It's
the rest of
June
your
coming
day.
up tomorrow, right?
Join our Wednesday Funky Frets TV. We have special guest Sirloin Sassy.
Subscribe,
Jack
hit the
Kohler.
like button, right? Notification bells, they'll be notified of one of these on here. I'm thinking of doing another live streaming thing that's just going to be like maybe a Monday morning. What am I working on? So it might be a blank screen for a bunch of times. I might work on song or some things that students have been doing.
Like you said, what gear you have?
Yeah, like
Stuff.
go over my gear, what I'm using, different stuff like that. Strings. Pretty much set on strings now, but all right.
Ooh.
So, adios.
Thank you, everybody.
There's our Andy.